Hello, my name's Henry Normal, and I'm here with Matt Panesh, who is the founder and boss, director, big knob of the Morecambe Poetry Festival. Hiya, Matt.
Hello, Henry. How are you doing?
All right, Panesh. Am I saying it right?
Um, yes and no. The actual pronunciation is Panesh.
Oh, Panesh.
Yeah, which I only found out about 4 years ago when family from overseas said, "Why are you pronouncing your own surname wrong?" And my granddad changed the pronunciation from Panesh to Panish, thinking I assumed that would throw Stalin off his trail after the Second World War.
All right. Well, good. Well, let's hope he's still not after you.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll see, because this might go international. This chat. Couple of questions. Why Morecambe? Why poetry? And why a festival? That's three. Why a festival?
Why? Right. Okay. Well, I landed in Morecambe because I had no choice. I got evicted from Manchester,
Right.
and I ended up like lots of flotsam and jetsam from the northwest on Morecambe's beach. I was looking after a friend's house who needed somebody in there to look after it, and I needed somewhere to stay. And then we noticed that there was a statue of a comedian, but no comedy night. And you got this town. Yeah, exactly. You got this town that had been built for entertainment, but the people sort of being disconnected from their own heritage to almost use Arts Council.
Yeah, I suppose going back to pre-punk, there were probably end of the pier type comedy shows, but I suspect since punk, that's the alternative crowd. Although, am I right in thinking that it's getting a bit fashionable in Morecambe now?
It is. It is. Well, we've got the new Eden project coming, which is put the prices up already, I think, in anticipation. So there's that sort of. It would be nice if it would be the first regeneration that didn't ship out its poor people. I mean, that's what I'm fundamentally hoping for.
Well, that's worth a plaque, isn't it? Or a commemorative medal or something. So, so you are you originally from Manchester?
Northwich, in between Manchester and Liverpool, and I lived in Manchester for about 15, 20 years.
And did you come to poetry through comedy, or is poetry been something that's been with you?
Poetry first and foremost, and I kind of got to comedy through poetry, and I got to playwriting through poetry. But I've always found it being the easiest way to. It's a lot easier than writing a novel. It's a lot easier than writing a screenplay, is to just capture a thought and put it down.
Yes. And so are you, you're a poet and a playwright and general writer yourself, are you?
I am. I've stopped doing it as much as I should do because I've been concentrating on the festivals, and that's kind of taken my attention away. But
I know about that. 30 years in the wilderness of television.
Well, that's it, exactly.
So I'm probably the John the Baptist to your Jesus.
You don't seem to have stopped though since you've left television. You've really.
Thank you very much. Now, you're writing, you're enjoying poetry, but it's a very different thing to actually, because it's a very giving thing to actually help others and put something on rather than just putting yourself on. So, what prompted that?
Well, I think it was. Just actually, Morecambe, the great thing about it was a bit of a blank canvas. So is there a poetry festival? No, there's not. If you could have one, who would you like to be there? And so it became this is the gig that I would love to go and see. And that's kind of been my guiding light, really. So last year was fantastic with Linton Kwesi Johnson. Yeah, John Cooper.
I've got to say, for a first year of a festival, and I've been, I did the Manchester Festival it must be almost 30 years ago now. For the first year of it was incredibly ambitious. How did you manage to be so ambitious?
Well, I always go for that way. Try for the stars and you might just get to the moon. Is sort of the phrase. And yet, to be honest, it came with a lot of help as well. So Phil from the Food and Drink Festival in Manchester suggested a few dates and a few people. And I went, well, if we can have that. And that's where John came from, really, John Cooper Clarke. So I've been promoting him for the last few years in Morecambe and around Lancaster. So as soon as John said that's the date I can do, then we had everything else to hang the festival on. But the festival was absolutely beautiful. But as you say about bringing people that aren't just the stars, I don't know if you saw Colin, who was one of the volunteers at the Winter Garden.
Yes.
Winter Gardens. He's in his 60s. He'd written one poem in his life, and it was his mother had died 3 years previously. And so he got up on stage, recited it in one of the open mic sections for the first time.
Yeah.
Then the day after, he did it again. And then I was walking past him in the street. He said, you've started something here. And they were filming him at the end of the stone jetty reciting his poem.
That's lovely. That's lovely. Do you know, to me, I started the Nottingham Festival as well. It's always about building. And it's lovely to see that you're doing a second year and that you're building on the first year, and those community aspects of it are great. So now the first time I met you, I were doing a gig for you in a little shop.
My playhouse.
Yeah. Do you still run the shop?
Yeah, my Playhouse Theatre. I love it. It's just a beautiful little space. That was so weird.
So let's make sure people understand it. It's called the Playhouse Theatre, but it's a shop, and there's a woman upstairs who's got the telly on.
Yeah. And she likes Euro dance music.
I think remember there's some funny shops next door either way as well.
There was an art installation which had a Ralph Lauren shop sort of closing down sale, and I thought that's a bit negative, so sprayed out and painted reopening soon, you know.
Oh right, yeah. Well, that could be a slogan for Morecambe, couldn't it? Really?
Yeah,
reopening soon. Have it in Latin. Stick it on a banner. That'll be good. Now, so I say I'm incredibly impressed by what you've done. You must have had lots of challenges. So let's get back to you've got the idea, you're going to do it. What were your challenges?
Well, the challenges I think were financial, really. It's always those, you set yourself away and you set yourself a target and you think this will be brilliant. Everybody will come on board. Everybody will love to sponsor it. Everybody whatever. And sort of 2 months away from the festival, you're thinking, well, this is what bankruptcy looks like. And one of the benefits, actually, speaking about the Nottingham Festival, Anne Holloway, who's the director of there, she moved into Morecambe just opposite. She's got a big white shed just opposite the Playhouse, and it was seeing the Playhouse that convinced her to move into Morecambe. So there's like the way these seeds do grow is quite interesting.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of Anne. So obviously I appointed her as the director, and she is brilliant at the community level stuff, and well, at everything, to be honest with you. But so you need those infrastructures, don't you?
You do. And she pointed me to Liz as well, who did the PR for the Nottingham Poetry Festival. And as soon as Liz came on board, like I really, like, you're right, it's about infrastructure. Suddenly tickets started going and everything started moving, and my blood pressure came.
At the moment, are you selling like one ticket for the full festival? Is that and then do when you get nearer, do you sell individual tickets?
I've started the individual tickets, so people can now buy a ticket for yourself and Brian Bilston, which I'm very excited about, or Roger McGough and Jackie Hagan and Jerry Potter.
And how much are those tickets?
I think they're 20 quid and 25 quid premium. So premium is like the first 3 rows of the Winter Garden.
All right. Oh yeah, it was a lovely place, the Winter Garden. And how much is a ticket for the whole festival?
65.
65. So basically, if you're going to see 3 things,
and also
get the festival ticket.
Yeah, and it also gets you into the alternative space where we've just got stuff going on all the time, you know, really.
Now, who's on with Roger McGough?
Jackie Hagan and Jerry Potter.
Oh, yeah, both brilliant. And who's on with Jackie Kay?
Carol Ann Duffy. So Carol.
Bloody hell, that is an incredible double. And who's on with Attila the Stockbroker?
Atilla's leading us on, so as Claire Ferguson Walker will go on after Attila, Dave Viney and Thick Richard will
All
take
right,
us
yeah.
about midnight, 12:30, and
Well,
then you and Michael start.
even without your other stuff, that's 80 quid's worth. So I might as well get the full ticket.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is the thing. So that's great. So have you were you surprised at the reaction of the amount of people that you've got on board and the amount of people that's been involved as volunteers and the amount of people that's come along to the festival?
Really, I was blown away by the reception that the first festival had and the impact that the first festival had, and almost immediately this next one changed and went up a gear. The T.S. Eliot Foundation got in touch with us. Literally, we put Liz did a piece in the Lancaster Guardian saying, "This is a great festival. Look at how much fun we had. Can we have some money?" And the T.S. Eliot Foundation rang up the day after and said, "We'd like to support this for the next 5 years."
Oh, brilliant.
Which, yeah,
No,
yes.
forgive my ignorance. Is T.S. Eliot connected with Morecambe?
You'll have to forgive my ignorance. I don't think he is.
Oh,
I
God
don't.
bless him. I mean, I know he did the Wasteland. I don't know whether that's connected in any shape or form.
They'll run me out of town if I say anything about
You know, he did some great stuff. So I think what now? Did you actually break even on the first
Yes.
year?
Yeah, we broke even and we actually made a little bit of money, which was
Brilliant.
great. Not a great deal, but a little bit, which
No.
is victory.
Yes, you don't have to make too much, otherwise they don't fund you for the second year.
Well,
So
exactly.
you've got to be careful. Now, what was your biggest challenge, your biggest problem? What something that you didn't expect that happened when you were doing the festival?
Well, the one that happened last year was the PA was awful. That we got the first PA was absolutely atrocious, and also the fact that I was operating the PA that came as a bit of a surprise
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
Are you what you might call a professional PA operator?
I'm not
No,
even.
see, I've spotted your problem there, Matt.
Yeah, so this year we've invested in a sound technician, but it was kind of great last year, just introducing you to the stage. Or, ladies and gentlemen, Henry Normal, and then running off the stage and into the little cupboard and doing the
Yeah,
sound.
I loved it. I don't know. I mean, I sat and listened to most of the acts, and I didn't hear any problems. Even Lincoln Kwesi Johnson, who sits down, is quite quiet. I could hear every word. And John Cooper Clarke, I could hear every word, not necessarily understand every word in the Salford accent, but and yeah, all that. I don't think I as a customer had any problem, and certainly not when I was on stage any problem. And I've got to say, I do feel honoured to be asked back for the second year. I'm obviously cheap, but and I'd been described as a local boy everywhere north of Derby.
Well, local boy Henry Normal returns. Yeah, no, it's wonderful to have you back. It really is.
Thank you.
And
And
actually,
I know Attila did last year, didn't he? So yeah, did you like say I'm going to have a mix of people that we've had and new people and
very much that. The temptation after last year was to try and have everybody again, and then I thought,
yeah,
well, that you can't do that.
no.
And I've tried to sort of reach out to the page poets a little bit. So Carol Ann Duffy is much more of a page poet.
Yeah, but I've seen her perform, and she's a great performer and very accessible. Stuff you can get it on first read.
Yeah.
And Jackie Kay, similar, who of course was the Scottish Macca.
Yeah,
and you know, very used to performing. And she started about the same time as me and Lem. So I used to do gigs with her, so I can thoroughly recommend her. Yeah, it's funny the idea of page poets, isn't it? Because Roger McGough, when you think about it, it was possibly the first performance poet, if you go back to the Liverpool poets, as we know today, first English one, I should say. You know, with maybe Adrian Mitchell.
Yeah, absolutely. And to have Roger on is just because I do see him as a sort of godfather, if you like, or of the scene. You know, Roger McGough's just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. I tell you the thing I like about him, and because I've seen him several times, and I know I'm going to be interviewing him on for you on the Saturday. I think I like about him is he's constantly coming up with new ideas. And I remember last time I was on with him, I looked at his new book, and he did something that I'd never seen anybody do in a poetry book. He did what you'd comically call back references. So he mentioned one poem in another poem.
Right.
A bit like David Bowie in Ashes to Ashes mentioning Major Tom, and I thought, it never occurred to me to do that. So I love it. I love his inventiveness. He's always, it doesn't dwell on stuff he did in the 1960s.
That's it. We put together an anthology for this year, so we've got the Morecambe Poetry Festival anthology volume
and
1.
When's that out?
It's going to be out in time for the festival, so that's the main thing. It's going to be there. So 22nd of September is the publication date. But Roger's poem that he donated to the book is just brilliant. I mean, it actually floored me when I read it. It was incredible, really fantastic.
And so basically everybody that's performing's got a poem in, have they?
Pretty much everyone who responded has got one in there.
Did I respond? I got a poem in.
You're in there.
Thank goodness for that. Now, let's get these dates nailed down. Because it's over. Is it over 3 days?
3 days, yeah. So I kind of went for a music festival vibe, and so it's 22nd on the Friday, and we're starting with Pete the Temp in the alternative stage. He's doing his show From Homer to Hip Hop, which is sort of a history of performance poetry, if you like. So I just thought that was a great way to sort of set it.
Now, this is October for people who.
It's September.
September. Bloody hell! I'll edit myself there.
No,
September, of course. Right. So it starts on the Friday. You've got what time does it start?
So Pete the Temp's on at 6 o'clock on the stage. And then you guys, so you and Brian Bilston, who's the other, I would say, he's probably the most successful page poet, only poet, so internet poet. Do you know what I mean? Because his poems, you just read them. You never heard him read them out.
No way, you never seen his face.
No, exactly. So then we see you and him together, which
you see too much of my face, to be honest with you, is the problem. So we're quite a good match in that respect. I'll just stand in front of him and he can do his poems behind me. So I'm doing a tour with him next year, but this is our first gig. Your festival is our first gig, so I'm really looking forward to that. And
I'm really honoured. You know?
Yeah, no, I'm chuffed with that. Now, so it starts at 6. We're on at the first night. Now, so have you got stuff during the day on the Saturday and the Sunday?
Yes, we have. We've got John Hegley during. So
doing a family show.
Yes, he is. Well, it's for 8+, I think he said, but essentially a family show. And we've got Dominic Berry on as well, doing his Dommy B, his new show as well, just before John. And then we've got. It's what I've called the takeovers. So I think from memory, we've got the Geordie takeover, which is a poetry night called Born Lippy, for bringing down some of their poets, Jenny Pascoe, Steve Irwin, and Donald Jenkins. Yeah. Then we've got the night of the Scouse takeover, which is Jerry Potter, Jackie Hagan, and Roger McGough.
Now, I always think of Jerry Potter as being Manchester, but he's a Scouser, isn't he? But he lives in Manchester, or certainly has lived in Manchester. Because he used to be Chloe Poems, didn't he?
He did, yeah. And that was the first time I've met Chloe or Jerry.
He used to dress up as a woman, and he was quite vitriolic. Very similar in a way to Lily Savage. And the way Lily Savage, went back to being a bloke, as it were, on stage.
And Jerry Potter's embraced himself as Jerry Potter, who's got a new book out, I think, 6A Blackstock Gardens.
No, I follow him on social media, and he's always got something interesting to say. So I'm looking forward to that. And Roger and Jackie. Now, were you telling me that she's had her other leg off?
Yes. I think so. Yes, yes.
Because when I saw her, she had one leg off, and as you say, she took it off on the performance and drank some beer out of it. I'm not sure she'll do the same with both.
No,
Quite sure how that works, but she is a tour de force, isn't she?
she absolutely is. She's one. She's someone I genuinely love. Jackie was my housemate for a long time in Manchester. We had some great parties. And yeah, unfortunately, we were celebrating her birthday, and the day after, or a couple of days after, she got a numb foot, went into hospital, and then that was it, you know. But she came to Morecambe as part of the very first Fringe festival that I ran here, and she did the show "Some People Have Got Too Many Legs," which is just...
That's a great title for a show.
Isn't it?
Yeah, you've got to be Jackie to do that show, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Great. So that's the Saturday, and then the Sunday.
The Sunday, we've got a symposium on which, like, a little industry chat, because we've got all of the different poetry nights coming from across the country. It's having a look at poetry in the UK. We've got an Italian poet coming in, Christian Rizzo, and a German, not poet, but he's a reciter of literature, Barney Holman, and sort of their views on their scenes in Italy and Germany, which are very much stronger than ours.
Now, what time's that? Because I might stay for that. I've got a gig on the Sunday night, but if it's afternoon, I can stay. What time does it start?
Well, we're kicking it off at 10 in the morning. So 10
in the morning. Oh, that's all right. Yeah.
And then we're finishing with Rose Kondo. She did a show up in Edinburgh called How to Starve an Artist. Yeah. So she's doing the How to Starve an Artist show, and at the end of it, I've totally nicked this off the Last Supper the Last Waltz, by the way, from the band. Robbie Robertson but we're going to feed everybody. We're going to bring out Sunday dinner for all of the poets.
Oh, now Lemon approve of that. He likes sorting out a free meal. Now, when's Attila on?
Attila's on Friday night. So actually, when you guys,
he's after us, is he?
Yeah.
Because he likes a late night. He does. He don't want to go to bed. Too many beers to get to bed. That man.
He'll kick off the alternative stage as well, though, won't he? He's just perfect.
Now, so tell us about these different stages. So I know the Winter Gardens, which is a lovely place, and what you might call faded glory. But they're sort of doing it up, aren't they?
Yeah, well, they've got 2.8 million to brush it up to
2.8 million. Oh, right.
Yeah. I mean, it's over 3 years, I think, but they're shutting it down. I think we're the last gig in.
I won't mind 2.8 million over 3 years.
I'd take over 10 years.
I could eke it out. I could eke it out over 3. So they're doing that. So that, but you're okay. The festival's okay this year.
Festival's fine this year, and the festival should be fine next year as well. I think the year after is possibly where we're.
We'll worry about that down the line.
Tomorrow's problem.
Now, so yeah, that's your big one. That's where the big tickets are, and then you've got. Now, I seem to remember you had like a pub next door.
Yeah, pretty much Johnny's next door, which is more of a nightclub, really, and it's got that kind of nightclubby feel. And we'll see if we can get it decorated a little bit. But that allows us to sort of run till 2 in the morning. So the open mics that we had were they shoot poets, don't they? Yeah. Which is generally you get in a circle, you keep on reciting poetry until the barman rings 2 o'clock last orders, and whoever's got the microphone in their hands wins the drink. And then there's the last poet standing, which is, again, a big circle, but it's reading your own original material. And as soon as you've run out of material to read, you drop back. And so it's whoever's got the most.
Oh, bloody hell. Don't get Paul Cookson on that. You'll never get him off. You'll be there till next July.
Yeah, it's going to be good. And throughout the day, we've got open mic sessions, and we've got, a massive variety of poets coming as well from Hull.
Brilliant. Now, apart from those 2 venues, is there any other venues that you're using?
There's not. I'm just using them 2 this year, and I just love that it's very close.
Very close, but as you say, different feel to them. There's a different feel. And I went to Johnny's the next morning and watched some stuff. So you got some stuff at Johnny's during the day.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we start from 12 every day and go on till 2 in the morning. And there should be a bit more food this year and so on, because I think that was missing a bit last year. So we're always learning, you know, it's always learning and
Well,
improving.
yeah, it was first time last year, so you know, the fact that it was on was magnificent, and everything else is extra. Now, let me have a think about it. We've got the. I know what I was going to ask you. Are you involved as a festival in the Eden project? Is that got in any sort of involvement?
Well, yeah, they've Eden Project communities have supported the book, which is really nice,
Yeah.
and they've they've come on. They've written the foreword to the book actually,
Yeah.
and I'm going to be working quite closely with them. I think as the festival grows and as they get closer to opening, they also put us in touch with the Wordsworth Grassmere people,
Yeah.
and again. They've put a forward into the book and they sent it out to their writers as well, because sustainability, nature,
Great.
biodiversity, all of this stuff has definitely inspired the poets over the years.
Great. Well, if you're social media in the book and the individual things, let everybody know so we can all retweet, or I don't know what you call it now, re-X. Is that a thing?
The X, I don't, yeah.
I don't know, be detox or something. Right. So there was another question. Yes. What question haven't I asked you? That's a good question, isn't it?
That's a great question. I don't know. Can I plug something after the poetry festival?
That's it. Nicey. That's a good question. Are you doing? I'll start. Are you doing anything at any other time of year?
Well, funny you should ask that, Henry. After the poetry festival, the week after the poetry festival, we're starting the film festival.
Oh, okay.
Which you were a juror on the jury.
Oh, right. Yeah. So I know all about that, obviously. Yeah.
um, yeah. So we're doing.
That's like short films.
That's it. So we've got like 400. You don't have to see all of them. We've got 400 entries now from about 50 countries in the short film competition. We're also got a strand of local filmmakers.
Where are you showing those?
So they're at the Real Cinema in Morecambe. So we've partnered with Real, and they've been really well.
Sorry, I interrupted you, but I just needed to know that. Yeah.
It's fair enough. Yeah, so we've got there's a couple of local filmmakers who've left the area now, but there's a film Archive and a film Burial. Archive, I think, came out during COVID, so it never really got a release in the cinema. And it was written as a response to both 2001 and Solaris. I should explain, we're doing a Stanley Kubrick retrospective as well, right, over the whole month. So pretty much everything from Paths of Glory onwards.
Did you say, can I pick up, did you say a burial?
Yeah, not a live burial.
A film burial.
Yeah, there's a film called Burial, which was made by a local filmmaker. It's a war film.
All right, now we're getting off track a bit because
yeah, we are. Sorry.
There may be people of the. I'm just interested in poetry. I'm not interested in reading film.
Fair enough.
Now, so are you yourself going to be reading any poems?
I am. It happened last year that I ended up closing the festival because the poet who was due to be on the last didn't make it. So
you mean when you started doing your poem, everybody left? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I finished the festival, is what I did. We're lucky to be back for a second year. Yeah. Well, so I'll be closing it.
Oh, good. Well, that'll be great. And will you be introducing me and Brian?
I certainly hope so. Yeah, I will. Absolutely. Right. And I'm looking forward.
Good. I'm glad. Now, I've got to say, I was trying to cram this in because we've only got on the Zoom, we've only got 40 minutes. So I was trying to cram it in, which is why I've been going 2 to the dozen. But I think we've managed to get the gist of it in there. Thank you very much. It's brilliant. And I'm going to send this to the Northern Soul magazine, and I'm also going to send it to Flapjack Press, who I know you do a lot with, and there's a lot of people there, and anybody else who wants the gen on the Morecambe Poetry Festival. So brilliant. Now let me ask you a final question. What was the first poet or poem you remember as a kid?
Wow, that's a good one. Now, do you know what? I think it's Roger McGough, and I think he visited my primary school when I was very, very. And I don't know whether it's a false memory or whether it's an actual memory. I wanted to ask my old classmates this, but I do think it's Roger McGough. So actually, having him here has made this extra special.
That is a beautiful way to end. Cheers.
Yeah.
Thanks, Matt. See you later.
Thank you, Henry. Take care, mate. Cheers.